This is a first edition box of WitchHunt. It includes everything you need to play, but there's also a family edition that includes an optional game board for the village.
In the first edition box, you will receive dice and tokens, the main deck of cards, and finally, the character cards.
Take all the ingredient cards out of the deck. These cards go face down in the cauldron. The cauldron is an area of gameplay where the ingredient cards are kept face down. They turn over every round, and they greatly impact the outcome of the game. The next step is to distribute the character cards. You can either do it randomly, or have every player pick who they want to be. This is Olaf's character card. Over here, we have his stats: mind, body, spirit, and starting resources. Over here, we have his abilities. He can spend resources on these to help in defeating the witch through the course of the game. And here, we can see that he's a witch hunter. Each class has its own strengths.
Once all the character cards have been passed out, give 7 tokens to every player. That's your starting resources.
Shuffle the remaining cards and distribute 7 to each player.
Determine who goes first with a simple die roll.
I roll the highest, so I'm going to go first. So I'll begin by drawing a card. Normally, the maximum hand size is 7. However, being the beginning of my turn, I draw a card regardless. I currently have 3 locations in my hand, so I'm going to begin my turn by moving these locations into the village.
The village is a 3x3 grid in which location cards are played.
Now that I've laid down my locations into the village, I can proceed by laying down my items into my yard, which is the space beneath my character card. I currently only have 2 items, so that's all I'll be able to play. Now that I have my items in my yard, I'm going to put some creatures down into the village. My character is a vicar, thus the church is my home location. So when I lay down this creature, I would prefer to lay it down on a location besides the church. Now that my turn has come to a close, I'm ready to trade any cards that I personally don't need. So this is one of those cards I don't need. Does anyone want to trade?
Yeah, I'll trade with you.
Cool. And that trade marks the end of my turn.
Now it's my turn. I'm going to begin by drawing a card. Next, I'm going to play a location from my hand into the village. And then I'm going to place a creature onto the church. To stand a chance against that creature, I'm going to play 2 items from my hand into my yard. And now I'm going to try and fight that creature. Here we have a creature card. It has mind, body, and spirit, just like the character cards. And it also has resources. These are the resources it rewards when you defeat it in combat. All creatures also have their own effect, and these can impact the game in very significant ways. Right. If we look at my character card, we can see that I have a base body of 5. However, these 2 items I have in my yard bring it up to a 13. If we compare that to the creature's 10, you can see that I have a decent chance at defeating it. To determine the victor of the combat, I'm going to roll a 6-sided die and add the number I get to my body, because that's the stat I'm attacking the ogre with. The person to my left will roll for the ogre and add the number he gets on his 6-sided die to the ogre's body. I'm going to attack, and I rolled a 6, plus my body bonus of 13 gives me a 19.
So now I'm going to roll for the ogre, who only got a 3. Thus, his body is only a 13 because of the 3 plus his body stat, which is 10.
Because I had a 19 body because of the roll, and the ogre had a 13 body, I win the combat. Because I won the combat against the ogre, and his resource amount is a 5, I'm awarded with 5 resource tokens. Because I defeated the ogre, he gets discarded as I get my 5 resources. I have 2 items I want to get rid of. Anyone want to trade?
I'll trade with you.
Since Nate finished trading cards, it is now my turn, and I will first draw a card. Next, I'm going to place the gypsy camp in the village, and then I'm going to put my items into my yard. With these 2 items in my yard, I have a grand total of 16 mind, because 7 and 5 and 4 gives me 16. I am going to attack the banshee in the village, and since she only has a mind score of 5, it'll be an easy kill for me.
Because I'm to her left, I'm rolling for the banshee. The banshee's mind score of a 5, plus that 2, makes the banshee's mind score a 7.
I also rolled a 2, plus my 16 gives me an 18 mind score. Therefore, I win. Rather than taking the resource reward, I will use this trap card to trap the creature instead. which is beneficial because I can use her in later combat. Because I defeated the Banshee in combat, I am removing her from the village and placing her in my yard. I will then proceed to put my trap card on top of her. That is actually going to end my turn because I don't have any cards that I wish to trade away.
Now it's my turn. To start out, I'm going to draw. I'm going to play down the inn location into the village. I'm then going to play the Scrolls of the High Order item into my yard. And then, let's see what else I have. I just drew Olaf Crimson's voodoo doll. Now that I drew that voodoo doll, I now have limited control over Olaf Crimson's player. What this allows me to do is force him to assist me in combat, even when he doesn't want me to. I'm going to place Olaf Crimson's voodoo doll over here next to my character, just in case I need it anytime soon.
Yes, it's true. He has my voodoo doll, and I'm not happy about it.
I have a card for trade that's really helpful for witch hunters.
I'll trade you a card for it.
Well, since I'm a witch hunter, I'll give you 2.
I'd have to go with the 2.
Because that's the end of the round, we're now at a new upkeep. A couple interesting things happen now. Because we're at a new upkeep, and the Gypsy camp is out, all Gypsy players will receive 1 resource. The same goes for the town hall and the church, where villagers and vicars respectively will receive 1 resource at a time. The inn is common ground, so all players will receive 1 resource. The haunted house here is blocked by a creature, so its effects are blocked, but it doesn't actually matter right now because the witch hasn't been revealed yet. The stake here is a very important location, as it or the gallows have to be out to allow us to defeat the witch. Okay, so who here is a gypsy?
I'm a gypsy.
Because you're a gypsy, you get 1 resource. Who here is a villager? Because you're a villager, you get 1 resource. Who here is a vicar?
I'm a vicar.
You get 1 resource because the church is out. Now, because the inn's out, everyone gets 1 resource. Because it's upkeep, we go to the cauldron and reveal an ingredient card. This one in particular doubles the aspects of all creatures in the village. Once all 5 of these have been turned over, which would be after 5 rounds, the witch player wins. When an ingredient card is revealed, its effects immediately take place, and they remain in play for the rest of the game.
Now that it's the beginning of the round, it's my turn once again. So at the beginning, I'm actually going to draw up to 7 cards. Normally, if you have 7 cards, you only draw 1. But considering I only have 2 cards, I will draw up to 7, so I will draw 5. Now that I've drawn up to 7 cards, I'm going to go ahead and play my location card into the village, the blacksmith. Even though the blacksmith itself doesn't affect me, it does benefit me by making an empty slot in my hand for the next draw phase. Normally, a player can only have 3 items in his yard, so I'm going to go ahead and lay this item down to essentially fill up the empty slot, but I want to replace the blunderbuss that I have because I have a class-specific item for vicars. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and put it in my hand and lay down the holy water. Now, by it being class-specific, I gain a vicar bonus, so I will get a +1 to the spirit already added. So rather than getting the standard +5 spirit, I will get a +6 because I fit the class prerequisite. Now that I have 3 items, I've grown quite powerful, but in order to go even further, I'm going to lay down Sasha Finney's voodoo doll, so I may force her into combat if I ever so need her. I have a creature in my hand, so in order to free up even further space for my next draw phase, I'm going to go ahead and lay him down on the blacksmith. The reason I've chosen the blacksmith is because it's nor the church nor the inn, so once upkeep comes around, I still get my tokens. So now that I've laid down the swamp troll, I want to go ahead and defeat him. But I'm going to go ahead and use Sasha Finney's voodoo doll in order to pull Al into combat, so he has to help me kill the swamp troll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for us. I got a 4, thus our grand total is currently 21.
I'm rolling for the swamp troll because I'm to the left of Chris. So 10 plus the 2 I rolled gives the swamp troll a total of 12 spirit.
Thus, I defeat him with our 21. Even though I defeated the swamp troll, I still have to abide to his abilities. So when I attacked him, I'm supposed to roll a 6-sided die in order to determine a random outcome on his little chart. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I got a 4, so there is no effect. Because I defeated the swamp troll, I can do one of two things. I can either take his tokens that he rewards, or using a trap card, I can trap him. So I'm going to go ahead and use a trap card and trap him for a later combat. Nearing the end of my turn, I would normally trade, but I actually really like the cards in my hand, so I'm not going to trade.
Because it's the start of my turn, and I only have 3 cards in my hand, I'm going to draw 4 cards. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the gallows in the village. I'm also going to play Sasha's Blade, a gypsy item, into my yard. That gives me +3 mind. And finally, I'm going to play Magumbo, a vendor, onto the gallows. As a vendor, Magumbo has no aspects, as you can see here, so he can't be fought. He does not, however, block a location's effects. The most important thing about him, though, is that he allows me to reclaim my voodoo doll for 5 resources. Because I played Magumbo and I have a fair bit of resources, I'm going to go ahead and spend 5 of these to reclaim my voodoo doll. Because I got my voodoo doll back, and I don't really have any cards in my hand I'm willing to get rid of, I'm going to end my turn here.
It is now my turn, and I have 7 cards, so I will draw 1 more. It seems as if I've drawn the witch card. Even though I've drawn the witch card, I'm going to remain in hiding until I can build up enough strength. I'm going to fill the last slot in the village with the haunted house. And then I'm going to place the Undertaker, a vendor, on top of it so that nobody can block it off with a creature. Next I am going to place an item in my yard. And lastly, I don't have anything that I want to trade, so I'm going to end my turn.
Now that Eve's done, I'm going to draw 3 cards so my hand has 7 cards total in it. Then, seeing as I have a lot of resources, I'm going to go ahead and pay 3 to use a gypsy ability. The gypsy ability I'm wanting to use is called Sleight of Hand. I've already paid the 3 resources to use it, and it allows me to swap 1 item in my yard for an item in another player's yard. I'm going to swap Chris's scimitar with my scrolls because the scimitar is actually a gypsy item. You know, I think I know who's holding the witch card. I think it's Nate. I'm going to play my accused card on it. When you suspect another player of being the witch, you may play an accused card on them. 1 round after an accused card has been played on a player, if the burning stake or the gallows are in play, you may begin a witch trial. When a witch trial begins, that player exposes their hand, and if a witch is found, you win the game. Nate, I think you're the witch, so I'm accusing you. There's nothing I really want to trade, so my turn is over.
Because we're at a new upkeep, it's time to distribute the resources and flip over a cauldron card. So gypsies get 1, 2, witch hunters get 1 and 2, villagers get 1 and 2, and vicars get 1 and 2. So everyone gets 2.
Thanks.
I get 2. And you get 2. And you get 2. And we have to flip over another cauldron card. This cauldron card makes it so that trapped creatures do not give bonuses when attacking the revealed witch. This means that if the witch chooses to reveal herself, trapped creatures won't help when fighting against her.
Now it's the beginning of my turn, so I'm going to go ahead and draw up to 7 cards. I currently have 2 cards, so I'm going to draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and replace the, let's see, I don't want to replace a church because I'm a vicar, and that's my home location, and that's going to give me a token at upkeep. So instead of getting rid of my own location, I'm going to get rid of the gypsy camp for a haunted house. After that, I'm going to go ahead and lay down 3 creatures, and obviously, like I previously said, the church is my home location, and the inn will also give me a token, so I don't want to block those off. So I'm going to block off the blacksmith, the town hall, and finally the haunted house. And I also drew an item that's very useful to me, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Hangman's Noose, because I can't really use mine. Spirit's my best aspect. And I'm going to go ahead and replace it with the Gypsy Curse. So, now I feel like I might be able to take something on. So, I'll go ahead and go after the Goblin. And I have a very high spirit. By myself, I have a 5 plus 6, which is 11, plus 4, which is 15, plus 7 is 22. Not to mention, I can get Sasha Finney's help, so that'll be a total of 25. And I can use this 25 spirit, and I will go ahead and attack the Goblin, who only has a 5, but with the Cauldron card becomes a 10. So I'm still in the lead by about 12 points. So I'm going to go ahead and roll against the Goblin.
Because I'm to his left, I would roll in defense of the Goblin. The Goblin rolled a 4 plus his 5, doubled because of the Cauldron card, becomes a 14.
And I got a 5, so my number was, let's see, 5, 11, 14, 21, 24, plus a 5 is 29. So I beat the Goblin by a lot. So I can either kill him for the tokens or trap him. Unfortunately, I don't have a trapped creature, so I'll just merely kill him for the tokens. So I'll get 5 tokens from that kill. Thanks, Al. And then to mark the end of my turn, I'm going to go ahead and offer 1 card for trade.
I'll trade with you.
Okay.
Because I have 5 cards in my hand, I'm going to start my turn by drawing 2 to get up to 7. Next, because Alex accused me, I'm going to go ahead and play an alibi card. Alibi cards are played to remove any accuses, so you don't have to reveal your hand to the player. After that, I think I'm going to go ahead and try and take on that orc using body. And I don't have any way to get help. So it's just me and him.
Oh, right.
So my 13 from my base stat of a 5 and my 2 items giving me 8. Plus the 2 gives me 15. Versus his...
The orc has 5, but by the Cauldron card he'll have a 10. Plus a 6 will be 16.
Meaning I lose the combat. So I would take, because his reward is 5, I would take 5 damage, meaning I lose 5 resources. Just toss this in the pile here. And I have nothing else I can do, so I'm going to end my turn there.
It is the beginning of my turn and I need to draw 1 card. In my hand, I have all 3 witch artifacts as well as the witch, so I think I'm ready to take on everyone at the table. I'm going to reveal myself as the witch by placing it here, and then I'm going to continue by placing all of my witch artifacts in my yard instead of the items I currently have. These 3 items in my yard are witch artifacts. The nice thing about them is that they can be added to any aspect. They can be added to mind, body, or spirit. Nate only has 5 tokens, so he is obviously the weakest player on the board, so I'm going to attack him first. My base spirit, because I'm Oscar Thorne and I also have the witch card, is a 17, but then if you also add in my 3 artifacts, I have a 32. So I'm going to attack Nate with my spirit.
I'm defending against the witch in this combat, so I'm going to roll first. I rolled a 6, plus my base of a 2 gives me 8 spirit for this combat.
I also rolled a 6, plus my 32, which gives me a 38. Minus his 8 gives 30 damage. Since I do 30 damage to him and he only has 5 tokens, that means he dies.
Because she put me out of the game, she gains my 5 tokens.
So Since I am the witch, nobody's going to want to trade with me, so that marks the end of my turn, and I can only perform 1 combat per turn.
Now it's my turn. To start out, I'm going to draw up to 7 cards. I have 4 cards in my hand, so I'm going to draw 3 cards. First off, I'm going to play down all the items from my hand. They added to my bonuses, however, not nearly enough to take on the witch by myself. So I'm going to use the Help action card. The Help action card allows me to ask for help from another player. However, they can say no. Since the witch is out, though, I think Sister Agatha will be more than willing to help me.
I'm very willing to help you.
What's your highest stat?
My highest stat is currently Spirit.
Spirit? How much spirit?
I have 5 plus a 6, which will be 11, plus 4, which is 15, plus 7, which will be 22.
Well, I only have a 3 spirit, but I'm going to try and change that by spending 3 to use Sleight of Hand, the same ability I used earlier, to swap this flintlock for your twin grimoires. Then I'm going to use it again by paying another 3 to swap Sasha's blade for your Staff of the Oracle. Now I have 2 wild cards, so now I have a 15 spirit.
Okay, so your 15 Spirit plus my 22, that's going to be 37.
37. So we're going to attack you with a 37 spirit.
I have 30.
Okay. So now we roll. Our 5 plus 37 is 42.
My 5 plus 30 equals 35.
So we defeat you with
7 points.
7 points. So you take 7 points of damage.
I'm going to use one of my abilities, which you spend 1 of these, and you take 2 less damage from their attack. So instead of taking 7 damage, I will now take 5.
And in addition to the damage we did, the witch had to use her trapped creature in order to get the spirit score she had. So now that the combat has been resolved, the trapped creature goes to the discard along with the trapped creature action card. I don't really have any cards that I want to trade, so that ends my turn.
So because his turn is over, we're at a new upkeep. Because the witch is a villager, she gets 2 resources, because haunted houses give witches 1 resource per upkeep, but this haunted house and this haunted house are still blocked by creatures. She does not, however, gain a resource from the inn because she reveals herself as the witch. Our gypsy there only gets 1 resource because there is no gypsy camp, but there is an inn. And the vicar here gains 2 resources because there's an inn and a church. In addition to that, we flip over another cauldron card. This cauldron card limits the hand size of all non-witch players to 5 cards. This means that no matter what happens, they cannot have more than 5 cards in their hand. Additionally, if the witch survives for 2 more rounds and these 2 cauldron cards flip over, the witch will win regardless of whether or not she's killed the other players.
Now it's the beginning of my turn. I would normally draw up to 7 cards, however, the recent cauldron card made it to where I can only draw up to 5, so I only get 2 cards. And now that I've done that, the first thing I want to do is attack the witch. And I'm going to use Sasha Finney's voodoo doll in order to bring my brother into the combat in order to aid me. And I'm going to use Spirit to attack. So my current Spirit is going to be 5 plus 6, which is 11, plus 4, which will be 15, plus a 7, which is 22. Sasha Finney's Spirit will be 3 plus a 7 plus a 5, which is 15. Her 15 plus my 22 will result in a 37. So, I have a 37 spirit against the witch. And what is yours?
I have a 15 plus a 3 and a 2, which gives me 20.
So a 37 versus 20. And now all we need to do is roll. So I got a 2. So it will be our 37 spirit plus the 2, which is 39.
And I would have a 20 plus a 3, which is 23.
So R39 minus 23 will result in a 16 point damage. So we will inflict 16 points of damage to the witch, which should kill her.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Since they dealt 16 damage and I only have 12 health, I am defeated and they win the game.
In actuality, since Chris led the attack against the witch, he is the real winner of the game.